Hey y'all, it's VJ.
It's Jane.
And this is A Sip and a Shot Shooters. And we are back with our guest, Geva.
Yeah.
She is our guest who moved all the way to Texas.
I'm back now.
She's back now, but she was in Texas for almost 5 years. So you got to listen to that episode. It's a dope episode. But before we start, we're going to do our cheers. In the last episode, we had Texas Ranch Water, or just Ranch Water. There's been a lot of names thrown around, but
Ranch Water, Texas Ranch Water. So now we're continuing those sips, or maybe just drinking water.
Or water.
Drink what you have at home.
Cheers to the good.
Cheers to the bad.
Cheers to all the things we wish
we had. Mm-hmm.
You know, it's very light and refreshing.
So refreshing.
It's very light. It's good for like when it gets warm out. You just want
something light.
Yeah. So Geva has a blog, and I want you to tell us a little bit about it. We're just gonna bounce some ideas. This is our shooter. So you know we try to stay under one topic. I'm not gonna give I'm no longer gonna give a time limit because we never seem to stay under that time.
We're talkers, and the time goes by quickly.
And we've all known each other
for a long
time. So, like Jane used to party with us.
Yes.
Yes.
Jamie's down for it. Down for it.
God.
Always.
Okay, so Geva, tell us about Every Single Heart.
Yeah. So Every Single Heart, you heard the last episode. I was just talking about how like I will always be at like a certain place maturity wise. I would be growing in my relationship with Jesus, like spiritually and all of that. But then as soon as a guy would come, it was like my mind went like, what? It was just like literally the definition of boy crazy. Like you just don't know how to like get yourself together or like to make wise decisions when a man comes involved, especially if he's like a good guy. Because I wouldn't even say like I ever really talked to like bad guys. They were all like quote quote
good on paper.
Good on paper.
Yeah.
But didn't know what they wanted ever. So to know. But but like anyway, so Every Single Heart was like I feel like I've been probably the best thing for me as a single, because being a single woman and then being a single woman in the church, you can feel so like isolated. You can feel like, where's my place? I don't have a husband, so can I lead this? Am I so like you, or not even in the world, especially like I said in Texas, like 22 years old getting married, they have like 3 kids by 26. You're like,
okay.
I'm still.
And up here, you hear women say, like, I'm 32. Like, I'm too young to have kids. I'm like, this is
right. Not what your body said.
Not us being judgmental. That's your body.
Right.
Biology.
Your body said.
Your body is like, girl.
Yeah. So, so there was just so much like centered around like what your whole life as a single is like, either being content until you get married or being like your identity was like being single. And that was like really hard. But the biggest blessing I had was being friends and such close friends with people who were married and who had what I wanted. And seeing that like their life wasn't perfect. Like I always thought that like marriage would complete me. Like, okay, I have this. And as soon as I get that, I'm good. Like, I'll be great. As soon as I have a good relationship, I'll be smooth sailing. I'll be happy. All this loneliness out the window.
Yeah.
And what I realized, like, through being friends with married people or like seriously dating people, was like, they needed Jesus just as much as I did. Like, the same loneliness, if not even more lonely. Like,
because it's like, you shouldn't be lonely.
You shouldn't be lonely.
Yeah.
And you're questioning all of that.
Yeah, you shouldn't be lonely because you're with somebody. But, like, I am. He can't complete me. He doesn't complete me. Like, that whole, like, you complete me thing is just, like, I just know. Because
I wonder where that even came from.
I don't know.
Like, or my better half.
My better half. Like, you, like, no. And so Every Single Heart came from
talking, sorry, like our girl age, like,
yeah.
But at like 21, 22, like,
yeah. Like, I want to meet my like person
You're
who's gonna
missing
make
piece.
me better. Yeah. And it's like, nobody has like the power to make you a better person. No one has the power to completely fulfill your needs all the time without blemish. Like, no one had, everybody, no matter how Prince Charming he is, he's going to fail you. Like, and that's okay, because you're gonna fail him too. We've had this conversation several times. And so, there, like, so when I was like, it would just always, I had such, and still do have such a heart for women who are single and who it seems like we just place our hope in that relationship. And then also in people that are married who like, they are let down and let down and let down by their husbands and like, or wives. And it's like, so the name, just Every Single Heart came in my mind because the answer for all of that, in my belief, is Jesus. Like, he's the only one who can fulfill all those things that we're longing for. Like, we're all longing for a relationship. He desires a relationship with us. We're longing. And that doesn't mean that, like, we can't desire, like, to be married or anything like that. But, like, even in, I just really saw how, like, even in marriages, people still had to fight not to make that person their God because they will fail. Jesus does not. And so it's like, yeah, so that's where that came from. Is like just writing about.
It was a great like play on where, because at first when you first told me about it, I didn't take it as like every single person's heart. I took it as like every individual's heart. And then when I just started reading it, I was like,
like,
okay, it was a great like,
because it like it. So for me, like, I used to write back. It's crazy. When I go back to, like, when I was 15, 16, 17, I've always had this boy craziness that, like, they would be able to, like, low-key depress me. Like, a dude could depress me. Or rejection was, like, I would say, like, I was marked by just feelings of rejection by men. Like, what? I'm a good catch.
Yeah.
Why are you rejecting me? Like, I never could understand it. And then I just realized that, like, people will never, ever make you feel fully accepted. And so, I don't know. I just think that it's good to know that, like, we can desire relationships. But now it's like, I desire that, but it's in its, like, right place.
Yeah.
Like, I can desire that, but I know that it's not, like, the pinnacle. And then as soon as, like, even in my current relationship, as soon as I start to, like, depend on him to be my peace, be my joy, be my perfection, be my sacrifice, be my wisdom, everything's just out of whack. We end up, like, our relationship suffers. Like, we just made it through, like, a really tough season because I was expecting for him to always be there for me, always do this for me. And it's like, he's a human. He can't. You know what I mean?
I think that's the thing with getting older and realizing people's humanness. Like, you expect, not just from your significant other, but like with family members, you put them on a pedestal and you expect so much from them. And it's like, they bleed red just like you do. Like, they make decisions and they make choices just like that. Might not be the best, but just like you do.
And it's finding a way to respect that. Like, having the mindset enough to be like, okay, you also need space, or you also need X, Y, and Z. So let me take myself back a few steps to be able to respect that, okay, they don't have time to answer the phone all the time.
Right.
Or they're not always going to be able to just drop everything that they're doing and come help me do Lord knows what.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Hard.
Like,
that's super hard for me. Let me, if anyone wants to date me, that expectation might still be there, but it'll be a little more realistic. I'll like bring myself back.
Right. And it's like, it's helpful, I think, because I think I've dated guys who were in that place and I wasn't, and so I didn't understand their independence. I was like, why don't you need me? And then I would like end up dating people who did need me, and then like I couldn't ever depend on them because it's like I wanted to be low-key their savior. Like, if you need me, then you'll need me, and you can't leave me because you need me. And so I think like I think that became unattractive once I realized that like we never could fulfill each other's needs. Like we never could like be perfect for one another. And so I think it's easy to, and I like write about this in my blog too, like it's also very easy to fake contentment. Like people have this whole thing about like being content in singleness. I feel like you can easily fake that because you don't have to, relationships force you to confront certain things. So you could be single and like have toxic behaviors that are just toxic. And it's like
you don't even realize that it's toxic because like I've shared with you guys.
I see her weekly.
That have started going to therapists. And just that realization, like you hear things about yourself, like when you're talking to someone and they tell you about yourself in the most professional way.
Yes.
But it's like you don't even realize that that's you, and then you have like the week. I'm weekly, but you had that week between, and it's like that. I see it. Yeah, like I see where that is, and like you need healing from that, and you need to like acknowledge that. But
yeah, for sure, it's like.
And you see the reason that a lot of things might not be working out how you thought it was going to work out. Yeah, that's not other people's fault.
It might be you thinking in your own way.
Now it might not all be you because I'm still BJ. It might not all be you, but I'm still me. But realizing that the percentage of it that is you may be a little higher than
you think it is.
Yeah. Like, because where I'm at, like, it's about a 10, when in actuality, it's probably like a 50 or 60. Yeah. But in other people's situation, not mine.
Yeah, I think that, like, I think the fake contentment thing is huge for me because I think that, like, whether you're single or not, whether you want to date or not, whether you, like, wherever you are, like, I feel like when we fake contentment, we're like ignoring something. Like, because there's a lot to be shown. And I feel like in this relationship culture that just kind of frustrates me a little bit, it's like, that looks like it's the goal. Like people talk about like how much they work on themselves, like after meeting this person, like I met so-and-so and like he showed me that I'm this and he showed me like this and I like got better and they like made me better. And I'm just like, I don't ascribe to that because I really feel like for me, this my experience, like Jesus was available to me, like he's perfect. So he was available to me in my singleness. So therefore, like, in knowing him more, I was able to see those things that a guy would bring out of me. Like, of course, being with someone has, like, really brought out, like, ugly things in me that I'm like, ooh. And thank God I'm, like, with someone who's patient. But, like, I still feel like that idea, that notion of, like, while you're single, you're, like, blissful. And then when you're with someone, it's, like, now this is when you do the dirty work on you. Like, you can do that dirty work now.
Yeah,
like, it's flaws now, and you can see those if you want to, you know?
But there's no mirror to you. Like, you're not, and thank God for your friends, but your friends are always going to root for you. And, like, unless you're having, like, those deep conversations where they're like, oh, friend, maybe.
I think that's the answer.
Yeah. But let me ask you this. Do you feel like you're content in your singleness?
I think that I'm learning to be. Before I wasn't, but thank goodness for like I feel like COVID has brought a lot of things into perspective, especially having to be by yourself or not talking to the people that you want to or not being able to fill your time up with other people. So it's like you're forced to be by yourself, forced to learn about yourself, forced to enjoy yourself as you are. And so I think that I'm learning to be content where I'm at a space where I'm like, okay, I do want a relationship, I do want to be married, I do want kids, but I'm not in a rush to have it. And if somebody that comes in, because I'm also like you, where I'm like, I can go stupid. Blinders are on for somebody if you are like showing me the right things, or if you showed me the right things and then you don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's like now I'm at a point where it's like if I don't feel that you are the right person for me, whether you're an amazing person or not, I'm not going to waste your time. I don't want my time wasted.
Right.
So I'm going to take a step back because I care about who I am.
Yeah.
And that's where I am.
Yeah.
Like, I'm content with myself. I can do what I want.
Mm-hmm.
I can hang out with who I want.
Mm-hmm.
I don't check it. I enjoy my own company.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm more so now than I used to.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I can sit and watch a crime show all night.
All right. That's a beautiful place to be because I love being in that place. One where it's like I know my good attributes and I know my terrible ones, and I am at peace. Not saying I'm going to be comfortable and not ever want to change, but I'm at peace with the fact that that's me, and I'm also going to tell you that so that you know up front what you're dealing with. Like I knew that for me, unless a man stated his intentions from the beginning, I would get my heart involved.
Yep.
I would be so in it, not asking any questions because it's too good for me. Like I felt like I would be like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
You want to kind of stay in your own world.
Yeah.
This is peachy.
Yeah. I don't want to know that you're like. I don't want to know that you don't want to commit. I don't
You're
want to
wasting
know
my
that
time.
I'm wasting my time. I don't like this is.
And then you're super hurt. And
Then
they're probably
you're
showing you signs
Oh,
that
yeah.
they don't want
Yes.
to commit. They don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And like whether it's like, oh, you didn't hear from him today
Yep.
or the day after,
Yep.
but like he calls you on that third day.
Yep.
That's him telling you he ain't.
You're not
Interesting.
you might
And
not be
that's-
that priority.
Yes, and that's where the Instagram thing really came in because like don't just hit me up on Instagram because I knew once I got into a routine of he's gonna text me, he's gonna do these things, I was gonna be hooked. And so like that's why I would tell people and guys would get mad at me and I don't understand. Like they would talk to me, we'd have a few little cute kiki conversations. But then I would be like, okay, what are your intentions? Why are you talking to me? Like, what's the point here? Are you trying to get to know me as a friend or like, what are we doing? And they would be like, well, I don't know. I'm just trying to like feel it out. And I'd be like, well, and because I had like made peace with where I was, I would literally be an open book. I would be like, look, I have the tendency to become extremely attached to you and you have not committed to me. So I'm going to go ahead and end this now.
Yep.
If
I don't want to see where it can go.
I don't want to see.
Yeah,
I don't
want to get involved. That's what I do on
I don't
dating
do it.
apps now.
Yeah.
I'll ask like, what is your intention? And I've crafted so that it doesn't seem like I'm not trying to jump into a relationship tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm dating with a purpose. I do like to be married at some point. No, I do not want to marry you or date you tomorrow.
Right. I don't even know you.
Like,
But that's not what you're looking for.
I was like, if your end goal is not that from this, then I'm okay.
Right.
I don't need any friends. I don't need no buddies. I don't need any more associates. I'm good.
Yep. I'm gonna end it
That's
down because
what-
me. It's not even
Because it ain't got nothing to do with it.
I'll get attached and then I'll get hurt. Look
Yeah,
crazy.
and then I'll be sitting there looking crazy.
Exactly. That's exactly how it was. So I was just like, yep. If you come back and I'm still available, cool. Let's do it. And you're ready. But if not, like, sorry. But somebody told me a good question to ask was like, to a guy when you're starting to talk to him, like, what are you prepared for right now? Like, what type of relationship are you prepared for? So like, not saying like, what do you want with me? But like more so in a standpoint of like, are you prepared to consider marriage? Because like if he's like, well, I'm just want to see, for me, that's a no.
Yeah, you're automatically out.
You're out.
See, for me, the phase that I feel like I'm in my life is asking myself those questions that I would potentially ask a man. Like for me, like Veronica, what are you prepared for as far as a relationship is? I'm not prepared for any of it, so I'm not. Like I think about that, like. What would you tell, like, oh, tell me about yourself. And it's like, I don't know. Like, I'm in that phase, like, what would I want to share with you kind of thing. So, I get that. And what I wanted to not ask, but, like, make a statement, sorry.
Oh, what's going on?
I was like, I do not want to hit you on camera.
But, the being fake content.
Yeah.
I feel like that's always a struggle because we live in a society where you have to be one or the other. So you either have to desire a relationship or be happy single versus I'm
just being
or being both. Like I know now I desire to be married. I desire to have some type of family. But I'm fine with being single. Like I'm not like, oh my God, I'm single. I need to find somebody. I need to like do this. I should do. I'm not in that place. But I feel like that's an issue we have too, where it's like you have to be one or the other. In actuality, you can be everything. Like that's what I'm realizing. You can be a little bit. You can be in like
both spaces. Yeah. And I think for me, like the only way I was able to get there, like I think it's amazing to be able to like get there just in your own like self-discovery. But the only way I was able to get there was through knowing that like whatever I was in that moment was fine. Like God knew. Like Jesus died so I would be able to like communicate with God and like let him know how I'm feeling, and like whether I'm super on cloud 9 one day or super desiring someone to come, like both are fine. And like I can be in whatever place, because you're exactly right. Like I feel like we have to either be like super content, or if you're not, that's the other thing that used to bother me is like if you were not content as a single, people looked at you like you had a problem. And it's just like,
why can't I? Well, you're not gonna find the person you want unless you're happy by yourself. Who wants to be with you? No one else wants to be with you. That's why, listen. I like being by myself, but I also like to be cuddled up. And I like having my girlfriends over. And sometimes, not always, like when my girlfriend's over, like, you guys don't want to stay? Like, but
it's midnight. You don't want to stay over?
You should just spend the night.
Yeah,
like when Jimmy came to visit. Oh, I love when Jimmy came to visit. I was like, Jimmy, you can stay here. And she laughed and said, I'm sleeping in your bed.
Yeah, because that's not happening on this side.
I was like, wait, Mom, you give me a room. I'm sleeping in your bed.
You know, I sleep on the couch. I'm like, and I'll stay down here. You can go upstairs if you would like.
Yeah.
I need my space.
But, you know, and I think for me, it's also like every single heart is also not like you don't realize you put a lot into your friends also. Like you put a lot of like, oh, this is my friend, this is my close friend, my best friend, my this, my that. When actually, in all actuality, it's still just you. And not, like, are you being single, or are you putting
like so much?
Are you
effort.
making like your best friend your boyfriend?
Right.
Like that's something that I question too.
That's a topic for y'all.
That's
a topic.
Write it down. So to wrap it up, but we can talk forever. How would you describe every single heart, or what would somebody on YouTube or listening to this podcast go and find?
Honesty. Like very, very raw honesty. But I think in my bio I just changed it, and it's like the truth will set you free. I think like there is a lot of bondage in like your relationship status, whether that's single, married, divorced, whatever. And I think I know that the truth of Jesus will set you free. It will allow you, like we were just saying, to be free to desire marriage, free to be content, free to be who you are and know that you're loved. And so I just share a lot of truth. I share a lot of where I am. And sometimes the truths are hard. But then it's really encouraging to know that you are free with Christ, and you don't have to be bound in whatever your relationship status says that you are. So,
and you're not alone.
You're not alone.
Yeah. So, do you have an Instagram handle or website that people can find you at?
Yes, thank you. I'm not good at this. I never did this. Every Single Heart on Instagram, it's at Every Single Heart _. And then the webpage is everysingleheart.com.
Okay. And we'll add it in.
Yeah,
type it in. Make sure people can find it.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for joining us on our shooter. Yes. It's BJ.
It's Jane.
And this is
A Sip
and a Shot. Bye.